Welcome, I'm Darren, and I'll be your guide today as I look at the best parallel designs in football for 1994. With this group, I love the variety. I mean, I really do like the variety of these cards because every single one of these cards is a whole different, almost a whole different concept in how to create a parallel. And that's really fun when you get to really see a great amount of variety and thus a really good breadth of different concepts of cool cards to enjoy. So it's been a lot of fun going through this and looking at these cards. And of these 7 cards, I will note that one of these is really more of an insert than a parallel, but I don't really see it as much as an insert as it is a parallel, and so I'm counting it as a parallel, which I think is exactly the right place to put it. So it's not an honorable mention, not by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not 100% a parallel, I will say that. But I'll be getting to that eventually, because where I'm starting is, so there are 7 total cards. There's a top 5, and there are 2 that are not quite in the top 5. They're still really good, but they're not quite top 5 material. The first being Pacific Prism Gold. And this is a card where right out of the gate, I've got a little bit of a limitation in terms of being able to enjoy it because I am a team collector, or at my heart, I'm a team collector. And as a team collector, there have been 3 or 4 of these cards that I've always collected. I've always seen them grouped together. And because of that, it's always kind of tempered my appreciation for these cards because when you look at them grouped together, it's a lot of gold foil. And it runs together, and the cards don't have the same pop that you would see when it's on an individual basis. When you do see them on an individual basis, it's clear that these should have been an insert. Well, they would have worked better as an insert or as an SP card, because on an individual basis, they look really distinct and strong and cool, and yeah, it's just the right amount of gold foil for that. And it's even better when you compare the silver versus the gold and you put the 2 of them together. Then the parallel component stands out even better because you get to see just how much the card is improved. But it is a set, and when you see all of these cards grouped together, it's way too much. And that's always bogged it down for me, so that's why I have it here at number 7. And you'll see how interesting that choice is because at number 6, I have the Stadium Club First Day Productions. These cards, I have to give a very begrudging amount of respect to the fact that the reason I like these cards is because it completes the card. See, the 1994 Stadium Club design for football is a really cool idea. It's basically like a junkyard. It's a whole bunch of stuff that's thrown together with an image that's way too powerful, and put together in the right way, it actually works pretty well on an individual basis. You put multiple cards together and the images are too much and they fight each other and there's no continuity between the set. So the cards are just kind of missing something. But that's where the Stadium Club First Day Production logo comes in beautifully, because they redesigned it for football to have this it's kind of a brushstroke look. But that's exactly what goes with the rest of it because it looks unkempt. It looks like it's just kind of thrown on there, but it's perfectly with the theme and it completes it. When that goes on there, then the whole card looks right. It fits. It works. This is really awesome because when I look at the regular card, I go, okay. When I look at the parallel, I go, oh, that's pretty cool. It excites me, it gets me engaged, and it improves the card to a greater extent than, to me, the Pacific Prism Gold cards are. So this is kind of a personal choice for me. Well, it's obviously a personal choice for me. I just happen to like this a little bit better than the gold foil cards. But still, neither of these are top 5 material. And the top 5 starts off with a very unusual choice, which is probably what most people on the poll are going to be choosing, which is for 5, for me, is the Finest Refractor. And this is a broken record for me. This is what I'm going to be continuing to say again and again and again, which is, I love the Refractor. I don't love the Finest design. I love the 1992 Finest design, but I don't think there's another Finest design that actually really works till 1997. So that means that this amazing refractor effect is stuck on a card that is just year after year, sport after sport, just kind of there. And that's the problem. This card doesn't get me excited. Yes, it's rare. Yes, it's expensive. And no, it's not something I want to look at. I mean, I really don't want to look at it. In fact, when I collect Finest cards, Finest is one of the few parts of my collection where I forget that they're there. I literally forget the cards are there. So I get a card to add and I pull out the binder and go, oh yeah, that's right. Apparently I had this player. To me, I don't even think about them because there's nothing special about them. And the refractors just fit right into that whole pattern. It's a great idea, but they never executed it until they did Topps Chrome. Well, no, until they did Bowman's Best. So but obviously that's a different story. We're talking about Finest. So for me, I put Finest number 5. Now at number 4, I actually think Topps did a better job with Topps, the special effects cards. This is a card which is almost perfect. I love the fact that they took the gold foil and replaced it with a holofoil. A rainbow holofoil just makes the card look so special. And then you couple that with the wonderfully clean design that they have, the clean look that they have for their football cards. They have something similar for baseball, but the baseball cards don't look as good as the football cards do. And I'm not saying I love these cards. What I'm saying is this is a perfect template for the effect that they have, which is it's a see-through holofoil texturing over the background that, okay, well, here's the problem. It's this grid of little effects, and that grid is so dominant on the card that it breaks up the effect overall and makes me hyper conscious of the background, and that's the only thing that holds the card back. In fact, if it didn't have that, I'd have this at number 3. But because it has that grid of effects, it limits the potential that the card has, and I just don't enjoy it, so I have it at number 4. But still, I think it's much better than Finest. Now, at number 3, I have Upper Deck, specifically the electric cards, either the electric silver or especially with the electric gold. The way the electric gold card looks is so impressive. I love the way that it comes across. And that starts with the fact that the 1994 Upper Deck cards, well, I really like these cards. I love these cards. The rich colors, the strength of the image, the team colors on the card, the touch of gold foil, all of that comes together where for me, when I look at these 1994 Upper Deck football cards, I love looking at them. And then you add something that doesn't even fit with the card and it just makes it seem a little bit better. Now, if it was just the silver, I think I'd probably have this behind Topps, but that gold parallel, that's the one that really makes this work. I love how it comes across, and I think it's better on the hockey cards than it is on the football cards, but still, with football, it's a lot better. And the reason I have this at number 3 is because the whole card to me is a great card. This is just the right amount of improvement over the card versus Topps, where Topps took an okay card and made it great. This was a great card that got even greater. So that's the reason I have it at number 3. But there's a very clear line drawn in the sand here at number 3, because the top 2, they're just a whole nother conversation. And at number 2, I have, very surprisingly, the Dufex Pinnacle Trophy Collection. Now, the Trophy Collection cards, this is one of the best Dufex cards, period, hands down, bar none. The thing about the 1994 Pinnacle cards is that the regular cards look mediocre because they have that big stupid triangle down at the bottom. The images are really strong and clear and fun to look at, but that triangle is way, 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 way too much. And yet when you look at the Dufex version of the card, it works as a perfect counterpoint. You don't want to have too much detail on these Dufex cards because the Dufex, when you get too much of the intricacy going into it, it hampers the ability for the effect to read clearly. Because you might notice they don't even bother to detail the background. They just allow for the radial fans to do the work of counterpointing the big image right in the middle. Perfect combination. But then you have that not even dufexed foil down at the bottom, which gives you almost like a break, and it perfectly balances the card and puts the emphasis right in the middle. The way they designed this card is brilliant. There is a little bit of additional detailing I would like to see. I think they're a little bit soft on it, but not much. So overall, this is almost a perfect card. But it's not at number one because number one is that card I referred to as not entirely a parallel, which is the 1994 playoff contenders back-to-back cards. This is where everything comes together perfectly. First off, you might notice that there are two card fronts. Right out the gate, we've got a great opportunity for us to enjoy these cards. Then you take the surface of the card, and they took the same playoff tech chrome and they improved it a little bit with a little bit of relief on the card, which gives the card a different feel than the rest of the cards, and it brings some accentuation to the card surface that we'd really only seen over in Wild Card with their Super Chrome cards. Playoff just didn't bother to do that, but here they did, which allowed for the images to have a distinction that you didn't see in any other playoff cards. And then you have the holofoil, which is just such a fancy, exquisite look. And overall, this card wouldn't quite fit with the Dufex, or wouldn't quite compare to the Dufex, with the exception of the fact that because there are two fronts of the card, that puts it over the edge. This is one of the early cases of a two-fronted card. We'd seen it in Team Pinnacle in 1992. In 1993, Wild Card did it with their Super Chrome cards, where they actually did have two fronted cards. They had a couple of different insert sets where they did it. This is kind of like a continuation of it. The reason I have this at number one, though, is because there's something really special about these cards, really fun and really exciting. It does all the things that you need it to do. The Pinnacle's Dufex cards can be a little bit overpowering. This has just the right finesse to it, and it is one of those cards where when you have one, you understand it a lot better. When you see an image of it, I mean, the image is okay, but for me, I expect that if people actually had one of these cards, they go, oh, now I got it. So that's where I put the number one card. I have it as the back-to-back cards, and that's my ranking of the 7 best card parallel designs for football in 1994. Now, definitely let me know down in the comments below what you feel is the correct list. Definitely look out for the poll when it comes out so that you can vote for which card you feel is the best of all of these. Curious to see if Finest does in fact overpower even the Pinnacle Dufex. I hope Pinnacle Dufex wins this time because I'm tired of all of these refractors being the top ones. But at any rate, definitely check all that stuff out. I'll be doing baseball coming up after this, so do look for that. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And thank you very much for watching.